Clarkston, Michigan, the greatest city in the world. It's the Jose Aliaga Show. Jose Aliaga knows everyone. Get to know him as he interviews some of the most fascinating people from the greater Independence Township area. And now, broadcasting from the studios at Clarkston High School, the home of the state champion Wolves. Here's Jose Aliaga.
Welcome to the Jose Aliaga Show. Today we have a remarkable, beautiful individuals, Dr. Lorenzo Lim, Dr. Kaylan, and Dr. Bo Peng, correct?
Correct.
And Dr. Kaylan Phelps.
Phelps, yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna have a very interesting interview today. But before we go to the interview, I wanna make a special announcement about, we have a fundraiser from Aliaga Foundation with Michigan State University Medical Group that Clark Hill is a law firm in downtown Birmingham is hosting an event for us, a fundraiser to help a medical group that's gonna be going to Peru. 65 doctors, between doctors and students, they're gonna be going to Peru to help unprivileged kids in Peru. And the fundraiser is gonna be in downtown Birmingham on June 26th from 5:30 to 7:30. It's gonna be hosted on 151 Old Woodward Avenue, is in the screen, Suite 200, Birmingham, Michigan 48009, and it's to help the doctors to go to Peru to help unprivileged kids. And before we start with the interview, you guys know how to say a fish without eye? Fish without eye, you know a fish without no? No? No?
No.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, guys, let's go start with the interview. All right. So, tell me, I mean, I know you guys are gonna be going to Peru to help unprivileged kids, but for the people who are watching, probably they don't know how the poverty is in Peru, which is very different than United States, as you know. So, tell us a little bit what you guys do in Peru.
So in Peru, we go to a city in the Amazon River called Iquitos, Peru. It's it's the gateway to the Amazon River in Peru. And what we do there is we run a medical clinic and a medical hospital. And we saw close to 2,400 patients last year over 5 days in Iquitos. And we bring down...
Excuse me, Iquitos is the jungle of Peru.
There's a jungle and then there's a city. So it's it's within the Amazon jungle.
So when you guys fly from Michigan, you go directly to Iquitos, or
we go to Lima and then to Iquitos.
So it's a long trip to go for.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
a day or two traveling.
Yeah.
All right. So what happened in Iquitos? We have obviously people that need medical care.
Yeah. It's a lot of people there. It's a very impoverished area. Iquitos is a kind of a unique place. The only way to get in there is by plane or by boat. You can't really drive there because the jungle is impassable. You can't really, and then you can't, it's not one of those jungles where you can live off of the land. You kind of need
I see.
By plane or by boat.
And Kaylan, tell me, they have a hospital, clinics in Peru in Iquitos, or what is the difficulty?
Yeah, so, we go down and we have a building that we use to set up a clinic, and we run that clinic for a week when we're down there. If need be, if we have very critically ill patients, we have partnered with some of the local hospitals there. We can get them to a hospital for immediate treatment if they need, IV antibiotic therapy, something of that sort. Or if they're very critical, we can also work with doctors to hopefully get them to Lima, and that's when you get the most intense therapy. So.
I see. But what is that? What is the main problem in Peru? What is, when you go and see a patient, what is the most of the kids, what is the medical problems that usually they have in Peru?
Sure. So we see a variety of different medical issues from anywhere from GI, stomach complaints to respiratory complaints. But I think the biggest thing that we've all noticed is the lack of preventative care. And as the osteopathic medical profession, we very much value preventative care, and we think that's one of the best ways to prevent disease, prevalence of disease such as cancer, certain types of cancer, long-term diabetes, and et cetera. So that's why that's pretty much the mainstay of what we do is we try to do a lot of preventative care as opposed to just reactive care in Peru.
I see. I see. Do you guys not mind if we can show some pictures about your trip?
Not at all.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's see. Picture number one there. Oh, nice picture there.
Yeah, so this picture here was from my first time going on the trip. I'm in the center if anyone really needs to know that.
I see Dr. Lim there.
Yeah, Dr. Lim is in there as well. This is one of our outreach programs we do. So in addition to treating the patients down there, we do outreach to Peruvian medical students, doctors, nurses, anyone in the healthcare field, or anyone who just wants to learn more about what we do as osteopathic physicians. So this was a discussion that we had the first time down there, and this was kind of after that discussion.
And you guys get paid for it? I mean, somebody pay you, your flight ticket, your food, hotel, you get paid for it? Or
no, I mean, that would be nice, but no. All of this is funded through generous donations from anyone who would like to donate. As far as our aspect on the trip, we pay for ourselves. We pay for our food, our housing down there, our plane tickets, everything that requires us to be there, we pay for it. And then in addition to that, all the medical supplies, any sort of medications we might need, that's raised through fundraising, and we bring those down.
I see. It's very nice what you guys do. I believe when you guys do this type of work, helping people, you probably feel really good afterwards, right? Helping kids, that was really, really nice. Dr. Lim, you mentioned before we were talking in the coffee place that one of the problems that the kids or the people face in Peru is probably the water. What you mentioned about the water is, what's the problem with the water?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with one of the universities in Peru, Universidad de Vallejo, and we work with a doctor there, Dr. Kenny Briseno, and we've been studying for the past few years really, like the water quality throughout Peru. And last year we took some samples in the Cordillera mountain regions in Peru and found very high levels of arsenic. This is 5 times the recommended level by the World Health Organization.
Oh, okay.
And arsenic is a poison to the human body and causes a lot of different health effects, from like anemia, it can cause developmental delay for the kids especially is a big problem. So it's a huge problem down there, and so we have partnerships with different universities to help try to clean up the river, to clean up the local water supply, to hopefully bring down the arsenic levels in the blood of the children that we found.
So, Dr. Pels, you were saying one of the problems that Peru lack is preventive care. So what kind of preventive care are we talking about in Peru?
So big things for preventative care like we do here in the United States, for example, would be Pap smears for cervical cancer. That's a big area of our research that we're doing down there to hopefully bring light to this area. A lot of the women down there don't get regular annual screening. So that's something we've been providing. Something we've noticed down there is that unfortunately if they do have any sort of malignancy, it's usually more advanced than what we would see here in the United States because it just hasn't been caught, because they don't do regular screening exams like that, regular breast exams, things of that sort. It's not as common as it is here.
And it's because technology, it's because also economic problem maybe for the people, the individuals that live there?
It's difficult to say. Part of it I think would be a little bit of the technology, but that's getting more into advanced screening for different diseases. A Pap smear is a pretty easy, quick procedure that you can do in an office. I think the issue there is just kind of the mindset around it. As Bo was saying, we're very focused on preventative care, especially as osteopathic physicians, and that's kind of the message we like to bring down there, that preventing disease is just as important, if not more important, than treating the disease.
And Bo, what kind of age, what kind of kids the age are like Like, for example, you treat kids by 5, 6 years old.
Sure.
What is the common disease very much for?
The most common disease you're asking? So we treat kids, well, let's start from the demographics. From, all ages. We have anywhere from, like newborn kids that come in for their physical exams to kids all the way up to their 18 or whatever, however old. And I think what's very remarkable about, this trip is that we have people who would drive hours to be in our clinic, 8 hours, 10 hours to hop on the bus just to be in our clinic. And these are kids that sometimes will come by themselves without a parent, or sometimes they'll come with their parents. So the demographic is really diverse in that sense. Now, some of the main complaints, the most common is reflux is very common, I think, from my experiences, as well as there was a lot of headaches down there. There's a lot of, respiratory issues down there. As well as parasites was also very common during my experiences there. And I remember, if I recall correctly, that one treatment of parasites for little kids can actually extend their growth and development by many years, and that was, research has been proven that. So we do bring parasitic infections down there as well for kids that we suspect do have parasites in their stomachs.
Interesting. We have a video about you guys, and I want to see the video. Director, please, we have a video number 1.
Guys, correction real quick. All supplies are going in the second area over here.
We woke up at 7 a.m. Everyone had to have breakfast. We had to be here at 8 a.m. sharp, which meant we were all here about 7:40, setting up the clinic, getting ready. Docs kind of calming everyone down. For the rest of the group, it's their first time here, so everyone's a little anxious and nervous, and they've just completed their first year in medical school. And looking back, when I was in their shoes, I was nervous too. So it's always fun to see how they're growing, even within 4 hours, where they're taking patients or zipping people around. And we had people that would come from even 8 hours away, hop on buses that took 5 hours. This kid that was under 10 years old that hopped on a bus by himself for 5 hours to get here. So we try not to turn those people away. We try to see 150 patients a day, and after that we see any overflow. But people will come and they'll stand out there for 8 hours, 10 hours. Some will stay overnight, waiting to hopefully be seen the next day. And that's the hardest part, is making sure that we see them all.
Very nice, very nice. Can you, Dr. Kaylin, explain me about the video?
Yeah, sure. So that video is actually from when we used to go to Huamachuco. For the past several years, our clinic has been changing locations. That one was in Huamachuco. It's a more mountainous region of Peru. Then we've done Mala, Peru, which is more of a coastal, poorer area. And lately we've been in the Amazon, as we've mentioned, in Iquitos. So that video kind of demonstrates, first off, the chaos of setting up a clinic. I mean, we're coming down with, we have all of our medical supplies we need to organize. We need to get the clinic separated into different rooms for different procedures or different patients that we might see based on chief complaint. We need to get the pharmacy set up. I mean, it's just kind of chaos, but it all comes together. And then I believe in the video you can see that kind of how we get the patients lined up, just the number of patients that we see. We have them wait, kind of assign them by whatever they're coming in for their chief complaint, and then we'll bring them in based on that and get them to whatever specialist they might need in the clinic.
And I'd like to mention the medical supplies that we bring in. We raise over like $15,000 to $25,000 this year, and to buy all the medical equipment and all the medicine that we bring down there. We actually physically carry on like all the students and doctors that come down. We pack an extra bag full of medication for all the patients that we see down there.
Which is why everyone there is just wearing our old scrubs, because the medication takes up our luggage, and we usually just have a carry-on that we pack a couple pair of scrubs in and whatever we can take for ourselves down there. But most of it's the medication and medical supplies.
And I think what's really good to note is that because we go there yearly, it does seem like we're there for only a brief period of time and then we leave. But I think the most important thing with our trip is that we do have continuity at the clinic. We'll show pictures in a little bit, but you'll see that we have a very good relationship established with the mayor of Iquitos as well. Yes, exactly. And as well as we're thinking about running a continuity clinic in the sense that we'll have doctors there year-round. To be able to take care of patients, especially ones with chronic diseases, that you can't just see them once or twice. You need to continuously see them. So that's what we're trying to establish.
And we're working with the local mayor to establish these mobile clinics that we can move from place to place. Because you know, like a stationary clinic can only serve the people like immediately around it. But with these mobile clinics that we're making with the mayor, we hope to be able to go all around Iquitos and serve all like the smaller cities around it.
Yeah, nice. We have another video, and I got it from Dr. Joe Gores. I should mention his name, obviously. Let's see that video.
We were in Huamachuco. Huamachuco is just under 11,000 feet in the northern Andes Mountains of Peru. And it really is a town out of 50, 100 years ago. The people we're seeing, I would say, are as poor as it comes. Some of these people have never even seen a physician before. To give you an example, we had a young woman who had 5 kids and had never been to a hospital to deliver any of her kids. They were all delivered at her home and never have had a gynecological exam. And you see that. We have kids that come in and have never even seen a doctor that are 12, 13, 14 years old. We have elderly people that are 90 years old, and what we can make out from translating, and have never seen a formal physician. These are people that when you see them look 20 years older than they are, that are worn down, that are ragged, that are working 14-hour days. That's the sun up, the sun down. And that's what they have to do to survive. Here to just take care of people. That's your mother, that's your grandmother, that's your little sister.
¿En qué forma podemos ayudar a su bebé?
I grew up in a family of physicians, and my grandfather, my uncle, and my other uncle, my mom ran my grandfather's office for 23 years. I was attracted to it. It's one of the things that is living and breathing. Every patient's different. Every time you walk in the room, it's a mystery, and I always liked that part of it. Medicine is not more glamorous than anything else anyone else does. We're here to serve the patients and the people and do a job. And if you forget that, you really miss the ball and everything they were teaching us.
Check fibular head up here.
Still feels a bit anterior and
Well, you know, some of it's swelling too.
This is the kind of crew that's there. It says, okay, we'd be here at 7 a.m. to start clinic. All right, we'll be there at 6:50. Okay, you want us to work after 5? All right, well, now you're saying after 6? Okay, we'll bear down, we'll get it done. And that's what it is, and that's the students across MSU-Com and MSU as a whole. But especially on this trip, they were there to work.
Dolor?
We do not have fancy tools or machineries, CT scanners and x-ray machines and lab tests. And that can be difficult sometimes because being the student, that's what we worry about. Let's get a CT, let's get some labs on them, let's find out what their thyroid levels are. And working with the older docs, that's the best part, is when they go, we didn't have these things. You really have to rely on your clinical skills. This is this sign, this is this test. Put your hands on the patient, feel their thyroid. Does it feel enlarged? Is it tender? Put your hand down. Do you feel that their liver is enlarged? Is their spleen enlarged? What are you feeling? Look at their arms. If you don't have a nerve conduction test, does it look like they're atrophying? Does it look like their muscles are decreasing in size? And that's a vital experience that I didn't pay much attention to before I started going on medical missions, to be completely honest. And now going on the medical mission, especially in the clinic, I find myself looking more at the patient as a whole, looking down, going, I don't just need to order a test. I can also put my hands on the patient. This year we saw over 1,000 patients, 1,006 patients seen. So, and we were extremely happy with that. With 5 days of seeing patients, with people getting sick as they do on these missions. We had 2 days where we lost physicians, which is a real blow. But we are in a third world country, 11,000 feet in the Andes Mountains. People do get sick, but we were still able to see over 1,000 patients, and that's a great mission in my book.
So, Dr. Lim, what can you tell us about the video?
So in that video, Dr. Joe Gores was featured a lot. That was back when he was still a medical student. He's a third-year medical student at MSU, College of Osteopathic Medicine. And I think the video really just kind of highlights how the trip is kind of like a mentor-mentee kind of relationship between the doctors and the students. As you can see in a lot of those pictures, there's always someone kind of watching over him and showing him how it's done, and there's a lot of other students in those pictures too. I think that's one of the big things about this trip is that it helps students kind of get comfortable seeing patients and treating patients, and at the same time instills in them a value to treat the underserved, to reach out beyond your community and help those that need help. I think that's one of the big things that this mission kind of does, is helps foster a relationship to the globe and not just locally.
Dr. Pelsi, you were saying, Bo, you were saying about you're going to mention about a doctor that was there in the video.
Yep. So one of the doctors in there, he was in blue scrubs, dark blue scrubs in the video. His name was Dr. Kenny.
Okay.
He's actually a local doctor from Peru,
from Peru.
that we work with on a yearly basis to establish the continuity that I talked about earlier. That was, one of the most important things. And as Dr. Lim just mentioned, this is a great opportunity, especially for medical students as well as fellow residents, to take their career up an extra notch. So for example, when I first started with the trip 2 years ago, I didn't know what specialty I was interested in or any of that. But as I progressed through the trip, on the trip I saw, we had this one patient. She was an 80-some-year-old lady. She came in with half of her face had basal cell cancer, carcinoma, and it was just a very touching moment because a lot of us were there, and one of the ear, nose, throat doctors on the trip with us told us that, unfortunately, she's at the end stage where anything we do now wouldn't be able to help her. But if we were able to catch it a little bit earlier, better preventive care, we might be able to, resect that. And ever since then, I've been, interested in ear, nose, and throat, and that's why it's a very good opportunity for medical students to grow and learn on the trip as well. And I think, last but not least, we go to school to learn a skill set to help other people, and it's really good to see that no matter where you go in the world, whether it's the United States, Peru, Canada, wherever, that you can bring that to somewhere else where people need that, and that's very humbling to see.
I see. Guys, we have some pictures there. I wanna have the.
Dr. Williard.
Yeah. So that's on your right. That's Dr. Williard. He's our pretty much fearless leader.
Yeah.
He brings us down there every year. And on your left, that's the mayor of Iquitos. So she works with us on a yearly basis, and this year she actually got re-elected, which is great. And so we'll be working with her continuously throughout the next couple of years.
Good. We have. I think we have more pictures though. We do. Okay.
Yeah. This is actually a picture of me suturing up. Yeah, this is suturing up a cut on someone's leg. So as on part of our trip on the Amazon, we have a boat that we take along the river, and we kind of just beach it, so people from the different remote villages along the river can come in for help. So, like, we were about to leave, and this guy starts walking towards us with this kind of like open wound in his leg, and just just asking for help. And instead of leaving, we sutured him up real quick and got him on his way, and hopefully kept it from getting infected.
Interesting. And what about that picture?
Yeah, that's kind of what he was mentioning. These are, so when we beach this boat, that's our mobile clinic on the river, the waiting room essentially is the banks of the river. So this is our waiting room. Patients come from all over. We try and be as accessible as possible. So this is just kind of representing when we pulled up. This is what we see, is the people have been waiting there for hours to see us.
So when we go down there, we spend 5 days, like I was mentioning, 5 days or so in the city of Iquitos itself, running a clinic there, and then we spend 3 days along the Amazon River on basically a mobile clinic boat.
As far as I know, Iquitos is really hot. It's like
it's very hot.
Like
it's very hot.
Miami or something, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's hot.
Yes.
More moist, maybe.
Yeah, it's humid. It's hot, and as I mentioned, I mean, you're lucky if your clinic room has the fan, because there's only a handful of fans. So. It gets warm.
I remember I went a couple of times there. It was really, really hot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't believe it. Wow.
Yeah.
And I play soccer there. I was like, It was
Not gonna do that again.
inhuman to play there. I mean, the first half I was like, oh, break, change.
Yeah.
No way, I can't keep going playing soccer. You can imagine. I mean,
Right.
it's just
Right.
really, really hard. I think we have a few more pictures there.
Yep, so this is part of our pharmacy. You can see me back in the clinic in there. But so essentially what we do is we treat the patients, we diagnose them, and if they need medication, we send them to a different room, which is the pharmacy. And that's just, you know, the kids lining up for their sometimes vitamins, sometimes other drugs. And
really?
yeah, yep.
Well, yeah, I can tell you need a fan there. Look at that.
I was sweating. Let's not zoom in. Let's not zoom in for that one. Yeah. And that's another photo of me. So this was taken pretty sporadically. It was just this little girl and I had a connection, and she wanted to listen to her own heart, so I let her listen to her heart for the first time. Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice.
There's my colleagues in the back.
Who is that?
It's Joe again, our other fearless leader, Dr. Joe Gores. And in the back, you can see Dr. Kenny Briseño. This is just this is our mobile boat clinic that we were mentioning.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's all when we're there. Obviously, it's very serious, and we like to take care of the patients, but we like to take time to kind of meet the locals, especially the kids, because they're clearly adorable. So spend time with them if we can. Yeah.
It's very, very nice what you guys do.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it a lot. Before we finish with the interview, is anything that you guys want to mention about? I mean, you're talking about you guys being global or something?
Yeah, it was just kind of to expand. You know, a big thing I think people ask is, you know, why should I care, or why does this matter? And it's not just to give back to this small community in Peru or to help the students here, but it serves as a model of what we can use for other medical mission trips. As I had mentioned, this specific medical mission trip has gotten national coverage. Dr. Gores on the video, that was from the Big Ten Network. So they select students from the Big Ten universities to basically do a small piece on it. And he was selected, and they came down, filmed him down there. So that was just one avenue where we got national exposure. We've been to national poster conferences. I was just at one in Chicago, the National Lipid Association Conference, the poster competition. We're featured at the Osteopathic Medical Education National Conference. So it's a big thing for people to understand, is it's not just for these small communities, or it's not just for us. We're really trying to create something that can give back to everybody and can help, you know, spark interest in something like this for some other people, and kind of serve as a model of what they can do and how they can give back.
No, it's very important, and I know people in Peru appreciate that a lot, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dr. Lim, any?
Yeah, and I think, you know, like one of the things that I really am proud of about the trip is that we're not one of those trips that just comes in and drops off a lot of medication and then disappears, you know, because, you know, it's not as if a lot of things if you can treat them once, but if you're not doing anything to prevent things from happening again, you know, those issues will just recur, and, you know, you don't really make an impact. So, you know, in this trip, you know, we partnered with the local government to provide, you know, screening for, like we mentioned before, like cervical cancer, you know, and I think that's big, because that goes beyond just that one mission trip. You know, if we catch a cancer early, we can treat it, hopefully cure it, and, you know, that's one more mother living in the world that would not have been if we hadn't come. And I think that's, you know, I think it's a really powerful and kind of a magical thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I think last but not least, it's like a big family to us. This trip was started by students for students, and everything was run by students, and, you know, we have supervising doctors, obviously, but pretty much all of this was not through some NGO that we found, which is, you know, and it was all us making the connections, making the trips, and it's gotten, for the past 7 years of our existence, has gotten way more than we've expected it to be, and it's been amazing.
And it is. I have been following you guys for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm born in Peru. My family still lives there, and I talked to Dr. Joe Gores for the last few years, and always Joe called me and says, Jose, we're going to Lima, you know somebody? Or that's when you guys met with the Children's Hospital in Lima and all that. So always happy to help. And for the people that are watching, having this fundraiser, and we're going to support them because you guys are going in August, right?
Yep, this August.
Yep.
So we're having this fundraiser on, it's going to be June 26th, it's Friday, Friday is the weekend, from 5:30 to 7:30. And again, we're having as a speaker, who's coming to speak, is Lisa Ellich Murray from the Ellich family, who is a family that is very involved in the Detroit area, helping many people. And Secretary of State Ruth Johnson and State Senator Stephen Vida. The three of them, they went to Peru.
Yep.
And Lisa Ellich went to Iquitos, where you guys are working before. And she knows the reality, and she's going to talk about that. So Secretary of State Ruth Johnson, they went to the jungle of Peru as well. And Stephen Vida. And it's going to be hosted by Clark Hill. It's a big law firm in downtown Birmingham. The address is probably it's going to be in the screen. It's 151. There it goes, right there. Oh no, it's the address, please. It's 151 Old Woodward Avenue, Suite 200, Birmingham, Michigan 48009. And if you want more information about it, we have the email right there and the telephone number, which is 248-988-1804. So we need your support to support a great cause that is making a difference, promoting goodwill for America, and that also helping and is making a difference in the world. Thank you so much for watching Jose Aliaga show. If you want to be a guest, please, excuse me, we have also the website for them that you can see more about them and support them. Sorry, I forget, you know. Right there is Bo, can you tell me?
Yeah, so it's www.medicalmissionperu.com. Very simple, and then you can access our Facebook page via that as well.
Yeah,
leave comments for us. You can see our personal stories on there. So.
And if you'd like to make a donation too, I believe you can make the donation through that website.
Yeah.
And every donation goes towards medical supplies, like we mentioned. Medical supplies, 100%.
100%.
Which is very important people to know. Is to the medical supplies to help unprivileged kids and people that need the care. They are taking care of their own expenses, their own flight ticket and everything else. It's just for medical supplies. And that if someone is interested to be in the show, you can go also to the Jose Aliaga page on Facebook. And if you have any really good positive comment, please feel free to put it there. If you have any negative comment for me, don't put it there. And also, if you want to be in the show, you can call us at 248-736-7163. Thank you so much, and adios.
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 Adios.